Hello there guys, welcome back to tutorial number 11 about developing a LibGDX game. So in the previous video we spoke about creating a stage, right? And we saw how we added timers so that the spaceships would have, would start flying at specific times, so they appear to the user not right away but one after another. Okay, so that would make sense, and you know would be more logical, and would help us to create a stage. So this is the first part. The second part, which is most important, is to define define the stage file. So we are going to create a text file, and in that text file we are going to describe how the stage is going to be we are going to describe how each spaceship is going to be. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, so first we need to have a way to read files using libgdx. So we cannot depend on the Windows, the way Windows reads file, because that would be Windows dependent. We cannot depend on the way Android reads files, because that would be Android dependent, and so on. So libgdx library provides a kind of file management system. So if you go and search libgdx loading file, you can find one of the results about file handling. So there are lots of things here, but basically what you need to know is that there are internal and external files, and what you need to do is to use internal files. By internal files, I mean the files that we create and are stored in the assets folder, and basically we'll create the stages, and these stages are already shipped with the game, so you don't load them. No, they are already from the internet. No, they are already available with the game itself. So what we are gonna do is something for reading from a file. So here you can see these two lines shows how to read from a text file. And what are we going to do? We are going to create text files for describing the stage. So let's start with that. So first, let's create a sample text file. So let's go to Android, let's go to assets here, and now we are gonna right click and add or say new file. Okay, so the file name, I'm gonna call this stage 001.txt. Okay, so stage 001, after that stage 002, and so on. So this is going to be the stage. There you go. So we have stage 001, and this is the file. So how we are going to describe the spaceships? Well, what am I going to do is the following. At the end of each line, I am going to use a semicolon. Okay, so each semicolon describes a complete spaceship, and maybe I could write things here and you'll see what I mean. You don't have to follow me exactly. You could write your own format, but I am making it text so that it's easier for us to understand. So what we need to define is first enemy type. So here enemy equals 0. Okay, and 0 represents three-headed spaceship. Okay, three-head spaceship. Okay, I finished this one, so I could write it all on the same line, or I could write it on different lines. Next, we can set the starting point, so x, and this is going to be equals, for example, 0.5. and I make this between 0 and 1, so that if I change the resolution later on, all the dimensions and everything will work accordingly. Okay, so now I will say here y equals instead of 1 I will say 1.3. So if this part down here of the screen represents 0, this part over here would represent 1. I want it to appear, you know, before that, so later on when it moves into the screen you will see that the spaceship is coming and appearing little by little. I don't want it to appear directly in the middle of the screen. Okay, so we said what? We set x and y. Next we are gonna set the speed. So here the speed, now I would make this maybe 60, so 60 units multiplied by the time span. So if I say speed x, I mean that this spaceship is using its own speed x and the speed y and doesn't use angle. Okay, so I am gonna use a speed to represent an absolute speed with angle. So here we also gonna have angle equals, let's say this 30, for example. Now what am I gonna do after doing this? So now we have enemy, we have x, we have y, speed, angle, we need also to specify time. Okay, so I want this to start appearing after, let's say 5 seconds. Okay, and yeah, so we are gonna try to do something like this. So there's the speed, there's the angle, there's the time. Okay, so this is very simple. Now we are going to define the second enemy. Now this one is going to appear at x location 0.7, y location the same, speed is 60. Now the angle is going to change, no problem there, but the time here I want this to appear after 12 seconds. Okay, so let us save this. Okay, so now we created a file called the stage001.txt and it has information about our stage. Now we need to create a class that will load that you know, that will load that that file and they create a stage for us. Okay, so here I'm gonna right click and select a new Java class and I'm gonna call this stage management. Okay, very simple, very straightforward. So this is a stage management. I'm gonna hit OK, and what am I gonna do is the following. So I create a public static. Now this is a static function. I don't need to create anything. This is going to be static, meaning that we don't have to create object. So this one is going to return an array of enemies. Okay, so this is going to be returning object. Okay, and the method is going to be load stage, and I'm gonna receive string stage name, stage file name. Okay, am I doing something wrong? Yes, obviously I'm doing so many things wrong. Okay, so now the first thing we are gonna do, we need to load the text file. So if we go to the help file of libgdx, we need to create a file handle, and then we are going to read things. So I'm going to copy these two lines. Okay, and now instead of this one, I'm going to use what? I'm going to say stage file name. There you go. And the text is in here. Okay, so now we have the text in here, and now we are ready to start working on our objects, right? So let's go back to our file, and oh, oops, not this one, this one. And now we are going to create the sprites. We are going to parse it. Now the code here, if you look at it, we just read everything from the file, right? Now we are gonna parse it. So first, each sprite or enemy sprite is being placed on a separate line. So let me go here and get the list of all available enemy sprites. Okay, so string enemies equals text dot split. Okay, and I need to pass semicolon because this is the separator. So now each entry here represents a single enemy. Okay, next, what am I gonna do? Just in case if there are some white spaces or things that could cause problems, I am gonna get rid of it. Okay, by the way, things would be much easier for me if instead of returning an array of object, I would return a list or array list of object. There you go. This would make things much easier. So now enemies strs. Okay, also I would say array list of object. This is going to be equals new array list of object, semicolon. Now, okay, so this one doesn't work. This is different. Wait a second. I think this one is what? Array list and new list, I think. Not sure, but I think new list of object, something like that. No, it doesn't work. Okay, I'm not sure. I haven't worked in Java for a while, but there, as I remember, there was a difference between the array list and its, object, its constructor. You set one equal to another, and I'm not sure which is which. So I don't want to waste time now. Let me just do a search for that quickly. So here, Java array list example quickly. Okay, certainly if you stop programming in a language for a while, you start forgetting things. So you have array list equals new array list. So this one, I already wrote something like this and it should work. So again, array list of object equals new array list of object. So what's the problem here? Why it is objecting now? Oh, I am very sorry. I'm being stupid. I just forgot the variable name here. So this is going to be enemies. There you go. Now, so my mistake. I'm sure having multiple programming language confused. So now we are going to loop on all the enemies strings. So for int I equals 0 and I is smaller than enemies strs dot length and I plus plus. Okay, now string tmp equals enemies str of I. Now if we go back to the file, let's have a look. So now we have a single line like this, right? So if we want to get each entry, what we need to do is something that is very simple, that is to split by the comma now, not the semicolon. So we are going to do something similar. So string fields, okay, equals tmp dot split and comma. There you go. Right, so now we are gonna loop on each field and parse it and see what attributes need to be updated. So we are gonna set a number of attributes here that we are gonna fill in a second. Check this out. So we will have int enemy type equals 0 and int now float x equals 0, float y equals 0, float speed equals 0, float angle equals 0, right? And after the angle, float timer equals 0. There you go. So now we are gonna say for int j equals 0, j smaller than fields dot length and j plus a plus. Okay, so now we are gonna take the field. So now if fields, oh wait a second, string f equals fields of j dot to lowercase. So if you type capital, you don't cause problems. Dot trim. So you remove all the preceding and ending spaces. Okay, semicolon. And now what am I gonna do finally? Let me see. Also dot replace, I'll replace each space with an empty string. So for example, if you go back to the file here, let's say I left a space here, so this space will be removed and this one will be removed. Okay, so this is very straightforward now. So now we got the field. Now we just check. So now if f dot starts with x equals, at that very point we are gonna say, let me x equals int float try is there a try parse? No, there's no try parse like in dot parse float. That's it. So I'll assume that the value is okay and pass it the f dot replace x equals with nothing and semicolon. So let me see, did I do something wrong here? Yeah, certainly, just an extra bracket. Okay, so what is happening? So f represent the field, or let me explain what's happening here. So first we are reading the file, right? So we are reading the file and placing it in text. Now text will be splitted based on the semicolon field, right? So if we have a look, this is a semicolon, this is a semicolon, so these will be splitted. Okay, no problem there. And then we will loop on each line. Each line is going to present an enemy. So we will get one of the enemy lines, and now we are going to split based on comma. So we will get this one separated, this one separated, this one separated, this one separated, and so on. And now we will make the program understand each one. So we are going to loop on each field, and first we are going to convert it to lowercase, remove extra spaces either in the middle or on the sides. Now I'm gonna check if the field starts with x equals. At that point I'm gonna say x is actually need to be updated by the value written. So I need to get the string x equal, let's say 5 for example, or 0 or 700, right? And replace the part with, of x equals with nothing, leaving the number alone. So if you have, let's say, x equals 22 and you replace x equals with empty string, what you have done actually is just keeping the 22 here. So next I just parse that and put the result into x. Okay, now let's go to the next thing. Now else if f dot starts with now y equals, I'm gonna do something that is very similar. So the idea is very simple, okay? Although I'm wasting a little bit of time here, but later on creating stages will be so easy and so entertaining, you're gonna like it. So now speed, instead of this is gonna be what? Speed equals, this is gonna be speed, of course. Nice. And the next one, so what did we set here? Let me see. We set the enemy, oh, we set the XY speed. We still have the angle, time, and enemy type. So here, else if f dot starts with, actually this is gonna be for angle. Let's go angle here. Oops, I'm very sorry. So this is speed. Now this needs to be angle. There you go. Angle. Angle. Now we have time. Oops. Time as well. Okay. Now timer. I call this timer. I'm gonna, yeah, this time. And the last thing is the enemy type. Control C. This is gonna be enemy. So enemy type equals, now this is gonna be integer. Okay, so parse int. I'm gonna replace enemy with this one. Okay, so now after we exit this loop, we have parsed all the properties, and now we are ready to add this sprite to the available list of enemies. Okay, so we are just gonna say if enemy type equals 0, then three-head spaceship sh equals a new three-head spaceship. Okay, so we create a new object. Now sh dot x equals the x that we have. Sh dot y equals the y we have. Sh dot speed, I think it was absolute speed, right, equals speed. Okay, now sh dot time, I think. What was it? Enable time equals time here. And what do we have also? We have angle, sh dot angle equal angle. There you go. And what also do we have? So I think we used all these properties, right? So if enemy type equals 0, that's fine, that's okay. Finally, the last thing that we are gonna do, we are gonna add this enemy type to the list of enemies. So all I have to say here is enemies equals enemies dot add sh, and that's it. Now after I finish everything, before I exit the function, I just say return what? Return enemies. Okay, so one other thing here. Now I said this list is returning what? Array list of object, but actually it's gonna return array list of sprite. Okay, because each one of these spaceships is actually a sprite, if you remember correctly. Also I need to update the code here. Array list of sprite. There you go. So it is done. It's all okay and fine. I don't think there's a problem now. I think there's an error somewhere. I'm not sure. What is it? Wait a second. Where's the error? Okay, I think maybe there is another bracket. No. Wait a second. Let me see. So this bracket is closing what? Closing this one. So we need this one to close the function, right? And oops, no. So this bracket is ending the loop. Okay, this bracket is ending the loop, and here we are returning things. So if you look here at this closing bracket, it's actually for this loop. Okay, just make it one under the other. So this is the for loop, and my mistake was putting the return inside the for loop. My mistake, sorry about that. Okay, so now we have speed management. Now let us go to the main game and see if we could use this in order to load and see its effect. Okay, it's very simple function, as you can see. But now let's go here. Now we are gonna change a few things here. This sh, I'm gonna call it array list of sprite. I'm gonna call this stage enemies. Oops. Stage enemies. Okay, so this is gonna equals a new array list of sprite. There you go. And I'll put semicolon, so this is an empty array list. Okay, no problem there. Now stage enemies, let me go to the constructor. Now instead of using this, I won't use this anymore. Instead I'll do something different. I would say stage enemies equals stage management dot load stage semicolon. Now I need to provide the file name, which is stage 0001.txt. Very simple, very straightforward. Now let's go to the other part of the code. So here, so there's gonna be updating the code here. Stage enemies, I will loop on stage enemies dot size. Okay, now I have stage enemies stage enemies dot get and I pass I dot enable and stage enemies dot get I. Okay, at that point stage enemies get I dot enable equals true. Okay, so now it's as simple as that. You can see instead of using an array, I am using this format. Okay, so I am accessing the list, but this one, let me see, size. Okay, this size method. Now I will check if this one is being enabled. I'm gonna update it. And where is the rest? I think, yeah. This one is gonna be dot size. Wonderful. And if it is enabled, sorry, yeah, dot enabled, come on, enabled. Okay, if it's enabled, I render things, and I suppose that's it. Okay, so let me show you very briefly what did we do here. So now we changed the sh array into a meaningful name, which is stage enemies, right? And it is a list of sprites, right? So when we load things, we will call the stage management load sprite, which would load the file, parse it, and return to us a list of sprite objects. Okay, now when we are rendering things here, first we are updating things, right? So we are going to loop on all the stage enemies, and if a stage enemy is being enabled and it's not being enabled, I'm sorry, and its timer exceeded the time limit, then enable that sprite. Okay, and next we are gonna loop on these sprites that are being enabled, right? And we are gonna update them, and later on we are gonna loop on the sprites that are being enabled, and we are gonna render them. Okay, so this is the code. Very simple, very straightforward. So I'm not gonna run it right away. I'm gonna make some tracing here to make sure it works fine. So let's go here. Debug it. Sorry, it's taking some time, but yeah. So we got to this one. So stage file name. So I'm gonna say I think it was F7. Let me see. Run build debug. Step over F8. Okay, so it's F8 here. Okay, so F8. So we got a file handle here. Right, and now we are gonna read this one, and I think I got a problem. File not found, internal. Okay, so it was not able to find the file. We got an error. This file is not being found. So let me stop this. Okay, so let me just sync things here. Synchronize assets. Okay, let me stop this. Okay, let me sync this again. Maybe this wasn't synchronized, and now I will debug again. Okay, that seems to be all fine so far. We are gonna read things, and we are getting the same error. So this is the error, right? So the error is what? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? What was the error here? Catch, yeah, T. So T here, file not found. Okay. So it seems that we are not being able to find the file. I'm not sure. Let me see the example here. So the example being provided, it lists the file right away. I wonder if I should specify the path of the file, right? So here you can see data graphics. Okay, so my local directory test, blah blah blah. Okay, so I'm not sure. Okay, so the error message, file not found, libgdx, libgdx file not found, error message. Okay, so seems like I've visited this link sometime in the past. Anyway, so here, when you run desktop project, the application will fail the first time. Open the run configuration and set working directory to Android asset directory. Oh, so this is very interesting. Okay, I need to change the working directory. I see. So for the desktop launcher app, I just need to change the working directory. So let me go back here. Let me go run. No, build. No, it was tools. I'm forgetting things. Sorry about that. Just give me a second, please. Edit configuration. So this desktop configuration working directory, I already set that to assets, so it should be fine, right? It should be fine. This is very weird. So temp G01 Android assets. Okay, working arguments, assets. Okay, second configuration, working directory, open to the path. Okay, on edit configuration, choose application desktop launcher. Working directory, choose Android asset path. Okay, let me go back to our friend over here. Stop this. Build, run. Let me see the configuration again. This is the desktop configuration. So the working directory is here. I'm doing the same thing that I'm supposed to do. So not really sure why I'm getting this error. This is very weird. Okay. So for Android, for desktop, no, this is Gradle. This is different. So let me see for Android. Debugger. Okay, I think this doesn't apply. Let me just have a last look here. Use a class path of module. Okay, let me try something. Let's make sure that the problem is actually with the desktop configuration, not with the code itself. So I'm going to change this to Android, and I'm going to make a debug now. So I'm going to click OK and see what is going to happen. Okay. So give it a second, please. Many cases you get some of these stupid errors for no apparent reason. Yeah, but you'll have to accept them. Okay. So just wait for this because I'm running the debugger, so debugger is supposed to be, you know, waiting, right? So yeah, just wait a second. Sorry about that, just wait here. Okay, so let me stop this, and now I will debug this Android application again. Give it an OK. Hopefully it will work well now. Okay, so now it's debugging. That is wonderful. So now I'll press F8. I'll press F8. What? Wait a second. I think it got an error again, right? Let me see. It just moved me to another file. I don't care about the other file. So here, where is that? Debug. The debug step over. Force step over. Alt Shift F8. So Alt Shift and F8. Okay, so it seems that it can't do that. Right, so instead of this I will just you know, let me remove this breakpoint and just give it a continue. Right, so the continue here is what? Step into resume point. It's F9, so press F9. Okay. Okay, so the game seemed to have stopped. That's really sad. So we stopped this one. Let's debug again and give it an OK. This is very weird. Anyway. Okay, so fatal exception process, this game, blah blah blah. Error reading file internal. Okay, so the game was not able to read the file for some reason. This text file was not accessible. So the problem is not in the configuration, but rather there is some kind of issue. Okay, so we have to copy this message in order to search for it. Okay, so we put this one, move these and press enter. Let's see. Okay, why we are getting this error? So this guy is having an error here, and yeah, okay, let me see error reading. So here, reading file, the read, the length, Android length, estimated length, load the stage, create. Yeah, it's file not found exception. Yeah, it cannot see the file for some reason. And this is very weird. I wonder why it can't see the file. Synchronize assets. Let me close this one here. Okay, let me stop this. Okay, and let me debug again. Maybe because I opened it here, it cannot see it for some reason. I'm not sure. Okay, we are still having file not found. Okay, so it is stage 0001. Oh, I am very sorry. My mistake, my mistake. The file is called stage 001 and I am loading 0001. So there's an extra zero. This is why I'm getting the error. So stop this. Let's go back to our desktop debug. Okay, let's go to our game, and now instead of loading the file or the stage file that is called 0001 is going to be 001. I remove just single zero and we save this here. Yeah, I do such stupid mistakes all the time. Very sorry about that. Let's see now. So I'm gonna debug on the desktop now. Okay, so the code ran and the breakpoint here. So text, as you can see now, is you can see that we just read the file. Okay, so now we are gonna split this. Okay, so this now contains two strings. So this is the first string, this is the second string. Quite straightforward. We create a list of enemies, list of sprites, right? And now we're gonna loop on the enemies strings. So we get the first enemy, and now we are gonna this is the first enemy, as you can see here. Yeah, you can see here TMP. So this is only the first enemy. So now we're gonna split the fields. So you can see now the fields, we open that, you can see enemy, X, Y, speed, and time. Very nice, right? And we are going to initialize these and loop on the fields. We get the first field, which is what? Which is enemy equals 0. So no match, no match, no match, no match, no match. This is a match, so it should get here. So now F is going to be enemy equal, so now we parse it, and now we have enemy 0. We continue. Now we have the X equal 0.5, so this is a match, so it gets to here, and now X is what? 0.5. And the next one is this is Y. Oh, so my mistake, this needs to be Y. I'm very sorry about that. And the speed and angle. So it seems that it's working. It seems that it's working. So let me stop this. Okay. Go here. Okay, and now I'm gonna debug again. This is gonna be very quick. Now I just found the error. Okay, that's good. That's good. So now enemy type is 0 and all the variables are being set, so it should be all fine. So I create the object. Now the X is going to be 0.5, the Y is going to be what? It's going to be 1.3, the speed is going to be 60, the enabled time is after 5 seconds, the angle is 30, and I add it. And I do the same for the second enemy, and so on. Very straightforward. Okay. So I remove this, press F9. Okay, let me get here. Okay. Okay. I think I did something wrong. I'm not sure. Certainly I did something wrong, right? Because they are both appearing at the lower left corner. Right, the angle is being set correctly, but the X and Y, oh, I'm very sorry. The X and Y uh, need to be multiplied by the virtual, this need to be multiplied by the virtual width, okay, while the other one need to be multiplied by the virtual height, okay. As for the speed, I will just go to the file itself. It's kind of slow, right? So instead of where's the speed here, speed, I'm gonna duplicate the speed here. There's gonna be 120, so I want it to move 120 units per second. So let's run this. Okay, so let's have a look now. Come on. Okay, so now this first one is appearing at the correct location, right? And the next one should appear after a while. Okay, so as you can see now, we managed to create two sprites, right? And we created them using simple text file. You could modify the text file and see how, you know, how you can control them. So we're gonna make things a little bit more interesting. So instead of using 120, I'm gonna say 240. I'm gonna duplicate the speed again, 240. Now I'm gonna say something like this, 0.1, and this is gonna be 0, and the time is gonna appear after 1 second, right? This is the first enemy. So I'm gonna create a bunch of them, right? Now this is gonna be at location 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and 0.9. Okay, so we are gonna have 9 enemies, and now I want the first one to appear after 1 second, 1.1, after 1.2, after 1.3, 1.4, right, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, sorry, 0.8. Okay, so they should appear one after another. Now I'm gonna save the file, and now I'm gonna run this. So you can, sorry. So if all is okay, you can see that there is some difference in timing for these sprites, right? And we did all of this without the need to change anything in our code. We just go to this file, the stage file, we type the setting of the sprite, what's its speed, time, other stuff, and all is fine, right? Now I'm gonna make the X location for all of these is 0.5. There you go. So they are all in the middle of the screen. Okay, so as you can see, we managed to create something like this. Very straightforward, very easy, no problems there, right? Okay, now one other thing, let me put this back to the way it was. Now let me go to the three-headed spaceship, right? As for the points that I'm gonna set, I'm gonna make this, you know, a single point here. I just want them to go to the bottom center of the screen. Okay. Okay, so now they are all going to the, bottom center of the screen, and this is it, right? Very straightforward. So we managed to create the stage file, and it is working fine. Now, we still have to do some work on that, of course. We are not finished yet. But we finished the main thing, and later on when we want to add extra features, things will be very, very straightforward and easy. So the next thing that we are gonna create in the next video is that we are gonna also define the path for each sprite if we would like to, so that we could override the initial path that the sprite has. Okay, actually we could do this right now if we want now, but I have to do a little bit of changes, right? So first I need to go to the, where's our friend here, background motion plan. This is the motion plan, and this is the part where we parse things. Right now, the parsing, we are putting things between the brackets. I have no problem with that, but we are separating them with comma and semicolon, and using comma and semicolon will cause problems because I already used them in the stage file, so I need to find another way. So instead of using separating the points by a semicolon, right, I am going to use colon, okay, to split the points, okay, and well, actually, I'll use this pipe symbol. I'll use the pipe symbol to split the points, so it will be something like this. So the format now is going to be different, so I'll use this one to separate the points, and instead of comma I will use colon. Okay, so a little modification here will make our life much easier, right? So we have this one. Where's the part where we use the split using comma or this colon here? That's wonderful. So let's save this. Now let's go back to three-headed spaceship, and for this one we will use colon. Now let me save this one, okay, and let's go to the file, and I will show you how we are gonna write the path itself. So I will use the keyword path equals, and it will be like this. We will move from 0.1, 0.1, we will still be on 0.1, but we will move to the bottom of the screen. Well, you know what, make it minus 0.5. okay, so this is gonna be the path, so we just move 1 point only, and make this 0.0 so that they are all aligned the same. Okay, that's wonderful. I don't need this one. Let me just shut it down. Sorry, power off. Okay, so let me see the location. This starts at 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, and 0.9. There you go. So all the spaceships will move just down, straight down, right? This should be it, if I'm not mistaken. I think the angle need to be 90. I'm not sure. According to our settings. Okay, now the thing we must do is to update the stage management. Now we will just say something that is very similar. So here string path equals nothing. Okay, so here else if f dot starts with path equals, at that very point we are gonna do the following. We're gonna say path equals f dot replace path with path equals with nothing. Okay, now I'm gonna add something that is very simple here. I will just say if path equals empty string. Actually, if it doesn't equal an empty string, then sh dot motion plan. What was the variable there? Dot path, right? Yeah, I'm calling it path. I'm very sorry. Dot path. Oops. Equals. What is that? Motion plan. Dot parse. Oh, come on. How did I call it? I'm forgetting the code. My memory is very bad. Oh, there you go. I need to use these two lines. I'm very sorry. Yeah, I didn't create it as a static one. So here, sh. I'm very sorry. Okay, so now instead of this, I will just pass the variable path. There you go. So now even the path is being set using our stage file. So let's save this, let's run this, and it should work fine. Okay, so it seems that I set the path to the lower part of the screen. Let me go to the stage and see what did I do. Oh, again, I think wait a second. This one need to be parsed 0.1, 0.5. Okay, let me see how I am parsing these. Okay, so now let me debug this code just to understand what am I doing wrong. So here this first path is at the point 0.1 minus 0.5. So let me press F7 and I am gonna split based on this one. Okay, so I am getting the point P, and P wait a second, P is equal, wait a second, there's a problem here. I suppose there's a problem already. I'm getting points, I'm splitting this, all points. Oh, for some reason it is splitting things into what? Wow, this is weird. For some reason, the split method is not is converting everything into what? Into characters. Wow. Maybe I need to use a special. Maybe the pipe is a special character. What? This is very weird. Let me use a dot. Oh no, leave it. Let me try things like this. Let me add this. Where's the add watch? Add the watches. Okay, so now this is very weird. So you can see now this is returning 10 strings. So open a bracket 0.1 colon and 0.5 and the close. This is so weird. Right, so maybe I need to change this, and instead of having a colon, sorry, a pipe, maybe I need to change this into something different. Let me see. Should I put double pipe? No. This is very weird. What other character should I choose? Let me see. Here, split Java pipe symbol. Okay, sorry, Java string split method. So, oh, it thinks that this is a regular expression. Okay, I thought I could provide a character, but it seems that this understands it as a regular expression. This is a special character. It has a very special meaning. So I am not supposed to use that. I think in that case I will use something different. I will just say, just to make things simpler, just say points equals points dot replace. I'll replace the pipe with the character of this guy. Okay, semicolon. So now inside this one I will use this symbol. Hopefully this one has nothing to do with the regular expressions, hopefully. Okay, so let me just put a breakpoint here and run this again. Stop. Now where's the three-headed? Okay, let me just run this and see how it works. Oops, sorry, my mistake. Stop it. Debug again. This is interesting. Okay, so now points is now changed. Okay, right, yeah. So now we are gonna press F8. So all points. Now this one is only one string, as you can see, right? Yeah. And let me go to three-headed spaceship. There's a semicolon. I shouldn't use a semicolon here at all because it's gonna create a problem for me. Okay, I think now this is it. I think now it's gonna work well. Come on. None is appearing. Wow, good progress. Right, we ruined everything, it seems. right? We're running that. So let's go back to motion plan and let us run the debug code again. Okay, so let me debug this again. Okay, so we got this one. We're gonna press F8. We are gonna loop. We should have how many points? Only 1 point now. We are gonna check it starting with an open bracket. Now we are gonna split this. We're gonna remove the open bracket. We are gonna split this one into X, Y. So let's see. This is X, this is Y. This is totally accurate. So now we are going to parse this one, right? So X is the first one, right? So this is 0.5. This second one is minus 0.5, no problem there. Okay, so now we finished the constructor. Now we are setting these. Now the path itself is 0.1 and minus 0.5, so we're creating a new path, and now we are going to parse this. Now the point is like this, and we are parsing this one. Okay, so the value 0.1 and minus 0.5. That is wonderful. This is how it should be. Yeah, this is how it should be. Okay, and we continue doing the same thing for the rest. Okay, let me just press F9. Okay, it seems that we finished this one. So we have 9 sprites, each one's having its own path, as you can see. This is the axis, as you can see. This is the Y. Yeah, it have the accurate values, I suppose. And now we just need to run them. I'm not sure what did I do wrong here. Let me stop this. Stop this. Okay, start again. Come on, don't embarrass me. Yeah, epic failure. Yeah, very sorry about that. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Okay, let's try to finish this very quickly. So what am I going to do is to remove this one, okay, from the first spaceship, and see. Okay, so this one happens. So it seems that for some inexplicable reason we are doing something wrong, right? So let me go back to motion plan. We are just splitting by this. We are, yeah, and then this one's getting things split. And this is very weird. I mean, wow. So for the first one, let me check the first one against the second. The first one's working fine. Okay, so F1 is 0.1, 0.5, and F2 is minus 0.5. And the points I got, the string itself is open bracket 0.5. Okay, so this one is fine and it get parsed well. Okay, so I press F9, so the second object now is what? 0.1 and minus 0.5. Okay. So okay, so now I is equal to what? Wait a second. Oh, this is very weird. Does this one get saved? Wait a second, I'm very sorry. A mistake in parsing here. There you go. So we'll have to save this. Let's go to three-headed spaceship. What did I do here? Open a bracket, close a bracket. That's fine. Seems okay. Very, very weird. Okay, so 0.5 minus 0.5, press F9. The next one, 0.2 minus 0.5. Okay, so this you said this one. Okay, well, I have a better thing now. Instead of this, if I can't see them here, I will just do something else. So I'll go here. So instead, I will just change the location, the Y location. I'm gonna make this 0.9. 0.9. So now all the spaceships are gonna be visible. Okay. They will appear one after another, right? .9. This is the time. Okay. 0.9. 0.9. 0.9. Yeah, maybe I'm a little bit dizzy and I'm making mistakes. Yeah, so forgive me. Oh. Now I think I know why. So basically, they are moving forward, right? So they are moving forward. As for the angle itself, I will use the angle. Oh, I think I now know why we are getting this. Yeah, I think, yeah. This is a very strange bug, and it happens because in some cases, if you are on the same line to your destination point, but on different direction, if you try to rotate to left or right, they will both get you the same distance. Okay, so in our update routine for the sprite, we are checking if we try to turn towards right or turn towards left, right? Isn't that correct? So and then we are comparing the one that gets you the gets you less distance, right? And because of that, we choose one of them, right? So here we could make something simple. I mean, what's happening is that the sprites are getting to this part here. The rotation to the right is not less than the rotation to left, okay? And so actually, instead of using this, I would just say if else. So it will keep, you know, rotating left and right. Okay, this is gonna help us a lot. It wasn't wrong. It was just a bug, unexpected bug in the code. And that's it. This is why we had it. Okay, so now let me show you this. This is very good actually, because now you guys are gonna see. Okay, so you can see now they are all working well. Wonderful, very wonderful. Not only that, as for the rotation angle, I'm gonna make it 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And let me run this again. Okay. I think I need to make it 270, right? 270. Let me check the first two. Yeah, it should be 270. Okay, so that they don't need to rotate. 270, 270, 270 again, 270, 270. Okay, that's fine. As for the y value, I'm gonna make it 1.3, 1.3, 1.3, 1.3, 1.3, again, again. Okay, so let me go back to our sprite class. Okay, I will put this back to the way it was, but instead of doing nothing, all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the value of angle. I'll just say angle plus a plus. So multiply this by time second equals angle plus this guy. Okay, so what happens here, if rotating to the right direction makes you closer to your destination, then turn to the right. If rotation to the left direction makes you closer to your destination, then turn to left. If both give you the same distance, then neither will be. So what are we gonna do is basically make an error in the angle, so that in the future one of these will be greater than the other. So your spaceship will choose, you know, the path, and if it is in the reverse direction, it will not go to infinity. Okay, so now let's run this and see how it goes. Okay, so isn't this nice? This is awesome. This is very awesome. So we managed to create this and our file now, using this simple stage file, we managed to define a wave. We specified the type of the enemy. For now we have one sprite only. Its starting X location, Y location, its speed, angle, the time it starts motion, and its path, if it has some, you know, unusual path or something like that. Let me add few points actually. So for this one, you know, just showing you that we can use more than 1 point. Okay, so for the first one we will use the location 0.5. Let me see, 0.5, and then we will use the location 0.51. Okay, and that's it. So let us save this now and run. and check the first sprite. Check its motion. So it should come back to the middle, then just move to the center. Okay, and it will keep rotating around that point on and on. Okay, trying to reach that point without being able to do so. Okay, so very straightforward, and now we managed to create paths using simple text file that is understood by us. And yeah, that will be all for today. Sorry for the long tutorial, and sorry for the mistake I did in the file name, which made me think that I'm doing something wrong in the code. Yeah, so next tutorial we will do more tricks with the stages and see how the enemy goes away, okay, and disappears, and so that we can move from one stage to another. That will be all for today. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye bye.